1, 2, 3, 4. If you can do all your stuff, what can figure it out? That's how it chooses you.
We're professional as fuck. Hello.
Hello. It's nice to see you again.
It's nice to see you again. Everyone, welcome to It Chooses You Smidgen
Smidgen.
with your hosts, Therese and Claire.
Yeah.
Everything's abbreviated now.
Only on Sundays, though.
Man, I tell you, this week I am fucking tapped in. I am tapped in to the pop culture zeitgeist.
All right.
I watched the Britney Spears documentary.
Oh, is there one? Okay.
It's on Hulu. It's
Okay.
produced by the New York Times.
Okay.
And it's basically about this conservatorship that Britney Spears is under with her father. And there's a big movement to free her from this conservatorship, which is basically put someone else in control of her life and her career.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually doesn't want to get out of the conservatorship. She just doesn't want her father to be in charge of it. She would like a third party. There are companies that do this. So she'd like a neutral third party. And it is fascinating. And it goes through the whole history of how crucified she was in the media and the, of course, you know, sexist attitude towards her. And it's hard to watch in a lot of ways, but it was a good piece of journalism.
You know, if you're a young girl and you're using your sexual power, there are questions about, well, are you doing that? Or is your producer, who is likely a man who is older than you, making you do that, you know?
Yep.
So those questions for sure. But it's funny that you're talking about that. I must have seen something on Netflix to have this thought, but I was actually thinking about Britney Spears yesterday, and that's not something I normally do. So interesting coincidence there, speaking of zeitgeist. And I was realizing that I have a very superior attitude to her. I'm like, oh yeah, Britney Spears, blah, 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 blah. But I realized yesterday, I was like, well, why do you think you're superior? Because you may not like what she did, but she was out there doing it. And you weren't.
Yeah, I hear that.
So you should maybe throw some respect her way.
Well, I wish her well. I really
God bless Britney Spears. That's the end of that sentence.
Yes. Well, Teresa.
Claire.
Here on It Chooses You, you ask, we deliver. On this Smidgen edition, as you requested a couple of days ago, I will be talking about my farm Livin.
Yes. We were talking on the phone about something else, and you had to run out and run errands, and you're like, I don't know if you know this, but water's really important, and you were sort of describing what you had to do and taking care of the chickens, and I was like, this is an episode. Don't tell me about it now.
And then when I said, are you interested in hearing that? You said, yeah, man, this is Cottage core. People are into it right now.
As we long for a non-existent agrarian past.
It's funny to me to think of my life as Cottage core. But I understand it.
There you are sitting in front of those beautiful floor-to-ceiling black pipe and, what did you say that was? Maple shelving that you installed?
Oh, I think it's pine.
Well, then it's shit.
You know, with cottagecore, it's good to like recognize your sphere of influence.
Mm-hmm.
Can I control that there are dog toys all over the floor? I mean, kind of, but not really.
What's the P&L statement for that? That's right. Dogs got to play. How much time would it take me to pick them up versus how much joy do I have not having them on the floor? That's that equation.
The dog toys are not twee enough to be cottagecore. You know, if I had handmade them from yarn, woven from our sheep.
That's right. You walked the fence line and picked wool off of the barbed wire and then carded it and made it into yarn yourself. And then it would be 10 years later and the dogs would have a toy.
So for anyone who doesn't know, I live on 80 acres in northern Colorado. I live in a house with my partner, Tim, and my cousin. We live on the property with another family as well. So we have a little bit of a community here. And today I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what that's like.
A day in the life.
That's right. We are fortunate out here in that one of the other people that lives here is an electrical engineer. So we are actually on solar on this property. 100% independent, off the grid for solar. We do have propane for our gas needs, so it's not ideal, sustainable in all senses, but it is a great step.
You don't have a propane farm on the back 40.
No.
I don't know how propane is produced. I imagine it's not grown, right? It's drilled. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. They run through a field and catch it in a butterfly net. I'm catching propane. I'll be back in 10 minutes. You're on solar, so how has this very cloudy stretch been for you guys? Have you had to adjust your, whatever you're like? Have you played any video games?
So we have a generator for backup power. When we have a several day stretch of cold weather and no sunshine, we have to run the generator. We want to add some more panels so that we can bank our power a little bit more effectively. If it's sunny, we're great. And so, and we're fortunate, you know, one of the things in permaculture is to adjust your infrastructure to match your particular circumstances. And we're very fortunate here in northern Colorado. It's very sunny. Mm-hmm. It's also very windy here. So wind power is something we've discussed as well. We had an experience that brought home the benefits of solar, which is that a couple of weeks ago, I looked out the window at night and everything was black. Mm-hmm. And someone texted me that there actually had been was a power outage here. So all of our neighbors were without power. And I was like, turning on the Christmas lights, you know?
That's right. I'll just be here playing Stardew Valley.
The other great thing about solar is it makes you very aware of your power consumption. Mm-hmm. There are some adjustments that are made from time to time. It's nothing austere, don't get me wrong. But there are days when I go, it's cloudy, so I'm not going to take a bath today, or maybe today is not the day to do laundry. Mm-hmm. So it does affect our life, as I think our connection with nature should, right? What's happening in nature, I think, should affect our lives. So it's a minor inconvenience, and we're very fortunate in that the system has been well built and that there are people who had the money to invest in it, which was not me. You know, it's not fun to get up and turn the generator on at 7 a.m. because it's been cloudy and it's you know, -2 degrees outside. That's not fun. But those days are few and far between.
Well, and if anyone could see your hair today, they would understand how not austere your life is, because it is braided and tucked up in a beautiful little style that could not have been achieved if you were in a hard scrabble farming environment. Clearly have some coziness available.
That's right. I am currently sitting on an electric blanket, and it is awesome. I'll tell you. We are on 80 acres, as I said. It's basically abused pasture land for cattle, is what it was before. The reason why we're on 80 acres is because the way the regulation is around here, you need to purchase a certain amount of acreage per household on the property. So being that we knew there were going to be at least 2 households out here, we needed to have a minimum amount of acreage. So 80 acres is a lot. I would not say we're taking advantage of that at this time.
Yeah, there are only 5 of you, right? I mean, 80 acres is a lot, you guys. It's a lot of land.
Our nearest neighbor is about a mile away. We can see their house from here, but it's isolated. It's definitely isolated. We're on prairie grassland. Our property butts up against the Pawnee National Grasslands. We have a lot of birds. This is an area where people come to birdwatch. Yeah. A lot of birds, but our property didn't come with any trees. We have planted a tree line, a sort of triple layer tree line, with the help of a county agency. It is not doing well for the most part, but some of the plants are doing well. I think you pointed this out to me, Teresa. You know, when you've got a lot of wind, it is definitely a better environment for thin-bladed grasses, plant life that is flexible, right?
Yes, flexible and permeable, right? Yeah.
That's going to take some work. So there's that phrase, the best time to plant a tree is 30 years ago, and the next best time is today. Yeah. So I definitely pushed for those trees to get planted quickly to give us some windbreak and to give us some cover, because they obviously take a while to grow. So I wanted to get that going. And we basically found ourselves in the situation that because we moved so quickly on it, it wasn't quite done as effectively as it could have been. So
I'm thinking about, you know, what I learned, and I'm a certified permaculture designer, which is hilarious and true. And in my classes, I learned that, you know, especially out here in an environment where trees are not necessarily the natural plant life, prairies are, we have grass prairie in Colorado. Trees are an addition. They are a later addition to the ecosystem, right? And so if you're going to do that to help yourself be protected from the wind, they require a substantial amount of protection in the first 5 to 7 years, let's say. And they also require a lot of babying / hand holding in terms of companion planting. You know, it's not a thing where you can go and you can plant 10 trees and be like, great, and now in 10 years this will be fine. Like, this is not an environment where trees grow easily, and so they do really require a lot of upfront additional labor. Yeah,
and our soil is so deeply clay. Basically, you know, when you water things, it just holds onto it like a sponge and can kill the roots, basically drown the roots. So it was a combination of factors, but you know, the biggest factor is it was 300 trees, you know. It's like you're saying, you can't really give the 300 trees the probably care and attention they need.
Yeah, it's not a yard. 80 acres is not a yard. You know, it's an ecosystem. Like, you're essentially trying to build / manage an ecosystem, which is a huge amount of work.
Speaking for Tim and I, we've made this conscientious decision to move very slowly and to do things well, balancing it with the recognition that occasionally doing things well includes a limitation of time and finances, right? So we do them as well as we're able to do them. So last year was our first full year here, and we really focused on the garden. That's important to me. And we set up the garden, amended with minerals. Out here, being in such a windy and sunny environment, mulch is really key in this dry climate. So we have mulch down for water retention and also to stimulate that life.
The soil has been used and abused. I mean, it was never a farming environment. It was always just a grass prairie, and then it was grazed by ranchers for 100 years.
Yeah, exactly.
If you wanted to grow vetiver, you probably could pretty easily. If you wanted to build a vetiver-based business, that would be great. But everything else requires a lot of work.
Coming soon, Claire's vetiver. We have, right now, dogs and chickens. That's our animal life. Lots of dogs and cats. The chickens are not officially mine, though we do have an arrangement with the other family, and I take care of them a good amount of the time. So I feel invested in their health and well-being.
I thought you were going to say, the chickens aren't mine, but we have an understanding. You developed a relationship with the chickens.
The chickens are named Blanche, Sophia, and Dorothy after the Golden Girls. They have a very nice coop that one of our resident builders made, but they do free range during the day. We have hawks and actually bald eagles out here. So I think we all understand the risks with that, but they are chunky, happy girls. We have a big compost area, and the latest thing is the girls, you can watch them all 3 in a row out the window, kind of waddling their way over to the compost bins, and they go through that and live in that compost all day, and they're super happy and healthy.
There's nothing better than a bunch of fat chickens running around a yard. It's so good.
Yeah. I allow my dog around the chickens, but monitored. I would never leave her alone with them. And she does pretty well with them, but she likes to annoy them. And the other day she jumped. Blanche, the chicken Blanche is the ringleader. She's a black and white bantam.
Okay.
Very pretty. She is the queen. And the other day, Sage took this flying leap over Blanche, just to piss her off, I guess, or, you know. So she leapt over Blanche, and I said, you know, come on, let's go. And I started walking away from Blanche, and I turned around, and Blanche was at a full run coming at us, like just trotting towards us, like,
I'm going to fuck you up.
Yeah, she was like, get off my lawn.
Damn kids.
So they're fun. They have a lot of personality, and there's some issues with them initially, the 3 of them not getting along, you know, the pecking order, etc. But they're doing great now. They're getting along just fine.
Yeah. So did you say you had like a 3-bay compost system?
Yeah, 3 bays. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, there's a permaculture channel I really like out of upstate New York. And his whole thing is chicken based. Like his entire world is based on his flock of chickens. And he takes care of them in the winter. He basically just lets them live in a high tunnel on a pile of compost. And it's so warm because of the aerobic and anaerobic reactions happening that they're just like, this is great. And he'll throw like grain unsprouted grain in the compost. So they get sprouts because it's warm enough to sprout them. And so they dig through and they get sprouts all winter. Yeah.
At your suggestion, I've watched some of his videos, and his chicken systems are so cool. He's just going for it and trying things.
His channel name is Edible Acres, if you guys want to check him out. And he is really inspiring because he also shows his failures. And he's like, here's a thing I tried to do, and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of people are like Instagramming their cottagecore, but he's like, nah, if you're going to really do it, you're going to fail a lot.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
Failure's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to tell everybody, for fun and also for accountability, one of our projects for this year, which is that Tim and I are going to build a Cobb pizza oven.
Nice.
And we're very excited. As Teresa, I'm sure you can comment on the permaculture approach is to prioritize the most important and hardest to change elements initially, right? Like your water.
Water's first.
I've been doing a lot of research over the years and listening to a lot of advice from people who are homesteading and farming and interested in sustainable practices. And the pizza oven is like the window dressing, right? It's the furniture. It should be the last thing. So why would I do that now?
Is it because pizza's fucking delicious, Claire?
Yeah, pretty much, Teresa. That's why. No, I think I can be a very practical person. And so I can prioritize and then go like, well, this isn't important right now. It's this thing that's important. We got to do what's important first. But what I've learned to be a little softer around that, because it's really important. This takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of focus. So I think it's really important to have things that bring you joy in that process.
Yeah. I was going to leap to pleasure is also very important.
Yep. For us, looking forward to the end of the pandemic and when we can be social, it'll be really nice. Food is really important to us. Friends are really important to us. Hospitality is important to us. So when the war is over, as you say, Teresa, it'll be really nice to have a feature that helps us bring our people together.
Yeah, just a very clear outdoor area that says we are here to eat and be together.
Yeah.
Very important. Yeah. Well, and I fully approve because, of course, as soon as we're all vaccinated, I'm going to basically live with you.
I'm going to stuff you so full of pizza.
That's right. One day a week. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Is it pizza day?
Can it be?
So we want to expand the garden this year, and we have other plans and get some more chickens. And there are plans for 5 years, 10 years, things like that. But it's really important to also live in the moment and do the things that you know are going to bring you joy.
Yeah.
In those 5 years, in those 10 years, because you're here now, right?
Yeah.
So that is a snapshot of my life out here on the 80 acres in the prairie.
That's awesome. So let me just recap. Difficult windbreak, awesome chickens, awesome electrical/solar system, pizza oven.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Done.
What else do you need?
Nothing. Literally nothing else. Thank you so much for talking about it. It was so great to hear. I'm very excited for your plans.
Yay. Thank you all for listening. Please subscribe and do review us on whatever platform you're getting our podcast from. That will help us find other people interested in the same kind of stories.
Yeah, we want to share these stories with as many people who want them as possible. Yay.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Testing. Great. Thank you for listening to It Chooses You. Your hosts are Teresa Sparks and Claire Patton. Our theme song is by Bobby Dart. If you'd like to get in touch with us, drop us an email at itchoosesyoupodcast@gmail.com.